Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara. This is Barbara Talks Some More. I am currently outside and I really wanted to look at Latto and 21 Savage's Synastry because literally I knew it was going to literally align with everything that I spoke on or just like have noticed in general, like with side chick, side dude synastry. Okay, so if you guys hear the wind in the background or the animals or any background noise, it's because I'm outside. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Recently I posted a video on my YouTube channel. Okay, Barbara Talks is my original YouTube channel. This is my second channel, Barbara Talks Some More. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to both channels. Today is June 10th when I am recording this, so let's see, okay, when I will post this. Maybe other information will come out in the meantime. I have to edit the video before I post them. But anyways, okay, so this is fascinating to me. You know, it's interesting. Latto, I honestly knew nothing about this person. I'm actually even surprised that she's like big enough to be like on Cardi's level, I guess, or like friends with Cardi. I heard about their drama. So if you guys are interested, maybe I can look at their synastry next because I am curious. As soon as I start hooking into these people's energy and I start getting interested in their situation and I start seeing the videos, I'm hooking into the energy. So of course I have to look at their astrology. For those of you who don't know, Latto is a rapper. 21 Savage, I'm pretty sure, is a rapper as well. I was more familiar with him, like just his name, not so much his music. And same thing with Latto. Like honestly, I didn't know of her until recently. I went on her page and saw some of her like older stuff. And you know, here's the thing, okay? A lot of her older music was all about, you know, not wanting to be a single baby mom apparently, or just like talking poorly about it. All these things, you guys, words are spells. Never speak in absolutes, okay? That's the most important thing to understand. Never say never, okay? Because again, you know, especially if you put something like out there like so strongly with passion, because like when you say things to the universe and if you're like never, you know what I mean, the universe doesn't understand like the negative, right? So it just like understands the passion behind what you're saying. So unfortunately, it's just like a plane of irony from what I've observed down here. So a lot of the time when people say something, you know, some people do come through to try to challenge that. I don't think that this is that type of situation. I just think that, you know, the universe is a plane of irony. So when you say you're not going to do something, unfortunately, the opposite ends up happening, especially if you verbally say. And in this case, she had her music, which like, again, everybody's like basically reaffirming, right? So they're like amplifying the spell. So it's just unfortunate that like these situations keep playing out where like certain people are like, you know, ending up to be either hypocrites or like their brand gets ruined, especially where something like this, to me, this is just like straight up devil energy, like especially like always targeting the feminine energy down here on this airplane. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I mean, again, everyone has their own choices and like their free will and like all these things, right? So it is what it is. But again, important to keep this at the back of your minds. Always better to learn through other people and vicariously, you know what I mean? So as usual, I have to put my disclaimers in here. Everything in this video is alleged. It is for educational purposes only. If you happen to have any of these aspects with individuals in your own life in terms of synastry, I mean, it doesn't always have to play out this way. It has to be a certain combination of energies. I just recently posted a video on my other YouTube channel, Barbara Talks, where I basically went over the most toxic synastry combinations. Okay, those are combinations, and I did touch on side chick, side dude, and how that ends up playing out. And these two are a perfect example of this because they literally have all the combinations that I've observed end up being in these like side chick, side dude, hidden affair types of situations, or even like illusion and delusional types of situations, honestly, because it's like I think that she actually thinks that he's gonna leave his wife for her. And this is what I said in the other video, and I'm always gonna tell you guys the way the situation starts out and the behavior that you accept in the beginning, that's probably how the whole situation is going to go. But again, I want to go over some of these indicators, okay, in this video today, so you guys can know what to watch out for if you are just happening to meet someone and you don't know, you know, what's going on here, what's the story. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys their birth information. So for Latto, okay, and this is all based off of the internet, so again, we have to take it with a grain of salt. Again, you know, these are always the things that I say in the beginning of my videos, which by the way, guys, if you want your own natal chart reading, progress natal chart reading, synastry reading, mini natal chart reading, mini synastry reading, okay, the information for all of that is going to be in the description box below. You guys can go on my website, you select the readings tab, an email window should pop up, okay? That's basically how you quote unquote book the reading. The reading is a video just like this one, okay? These videos that I do are more synonymous to my mini readings rather than my full length readings, because in the full blown reading, I literally go over everything, okay? Confirmation in the background from the seagull, okay? We definitely have some company today in today's video, okay? The thing that I love about this channel is this is my more chill, casual channel, and I just like love that. Anyways, again, more animals in the background if you guys can hear it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. I do have the birth information here, okay? So again, this birth information is off the internet, right? I have the times too, interestingly enough, for both of them. Fascinating, okay, that we have both of their times, both of their date of births. These things we have to take it with a grain of salt because it's like, again, you know, are these things accurate? Are they not? But again, we're going to go based off of the fact as if this information is accurate. So for Latto, I have her here as December 22nd, 1998, born at 3:57 a.m. in Westerville in Ohio. And then for 21 Savage, I have him here as 22nd October, okay, 1992, 7:36 a.m. in Plastow in the UK. So first and foremost, I find it interesting that they're both born on the 22nd. This is like the master builder, right? So it makes sense, like this hustler energy. Interestingly enough, I thought Latto was a Taurus. I was picking up on that energy for her, but it makes sense if she is born on the 22nd, okay, because it's double of that 2 energy. Now, this doesn't really mean Taurus in numerology, but it is the master builder, and Taurus is all about building. So it always connects me back to Taurus energy, 22, building, builder, right? A lot of influence with these master numbers. These people usually know, right? And that's kind of what pushes them through to get to basically their end goal. So same thing for 21 Savage, okay? 22 day number. I found it interesting that they had this in common. Now, the other thing that I found interesting was that Latto was born on a new moon. And for some reason, this just connected me to this like naivete energy, like with her. I'm not saying she is naive, and I'm not saying that people who are born on a new moon are naive. For some reason, this is just a connection that it connected me to. There is a little bit of a naivete with her, even though, you know, she tries to probably act tough and so on and so forth. She still has this like underlying energy of just like naiveness, okay? That's kind of what I hook into overall, and that's what the new moon connected me to. Once again, doesn't mean this, okay? Everyone who has a new moon, it's just kind of what I'm hooking into for her particular energy. All right, let's get into the synastry here. Let's just get straight to the side chick, side dude, and then we'll get to the other stuff, okay? So my usual indicators for side chick, side dude when I'm looking for this in synastry is always going to be Venus, Uranus, Venus, Neptune, Pluto aspecting the personal placements, okay? We have all of this, and we even have Lilith, Mars. I literally just posted a video on this, on the most toxic synastry combinations. Now here's the thing, different arrangements, you know, work for different people, right? It doesn't always have to end up being toxic. I mean, you know, some people are openly poly and communication and so on and so forth, but you know, in this situation, it doesn't really seem like this is like an openly poly situation, okay? I mean, at least from what I've gathered. So basically what these two have got going on, okay, they have Venus, Uranus literally conjunct 1 degree, okay, and a few minutes apart. So her Venus conjunct his Uranus. This is interesting that he's the Uranus here though, okay, because this means he came through abruptly into her life, okay, to disrupt her love life. We have Venus, Neptune, so her Venus conjunct his Neptune. I literally knew, okay, as soon as I saw she was born in 1998 and he was born in 1992, okay, I just knew that there was going to be the Uranus Venus thing going on, and Uranus Neptune, like I just hooked into it. And then the other thing that I hooked into too before I even looked at his chart was her 12th house is occupied by Libra. I just knew, like as soon as I saw that, I was like, I feel like he's a Libra going into her 12th house, and lo and behold, okay, we got that going on. His sun goes into her 12th house, so she probably felt really, really seen by him. And this dynamic, right, like, you know, the sun going into the 12th, illuminating the subconscious, unconscious, but also these could be past life enemies, okay? These could be past life enemies coming through as lovers, okay, because it's the 12th house. It's undefined. The relationship is undefined. Venus, Neptune, it's undefined. It's the Neptune energy that's always the culprit in all of these types of situations that do eventually turn toxic, because the Neptune energy keeps the personal planet person hooked in these dynamics, okay? It's like they feel like they found their one true love, especially Venus, Neptune. They do have Venus, Neptune happening on both sides. From her side, it's his Neptune conjuncting her Venus, because these are conjunctions, especially the hard aspects. But honestly, even like the sextiles and trines, even though these are harmonious energies, this is kind of what I was saying to you guys. When it's in combination, you have to look at the combination of the energies, okay? When it's in combination with Neptune, in combination with Pluto, and in this case, there's also, you know, Lilith, Mars. Even though it's not a hard aspect, the Lilith, Mars, okay, that's taking place between the two of them, it's still there. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, because the energy is still there, all of this together creates this scenario, okay? I really, really hope that that makes sense. So basically from her side, it's her Lilith that's trining his Mars, okay? So again, we have Lilith, Mars, Pluto, okay, aspecting the personal placements, Uranus to the personal placements, especially Venus, Uranus. That's my biggest like energy when I see this in a chart. If someone comes to me and then they're like, what do you think of this synastry? I'm always like, investigate further. Like, you know, that's usually one of the first things that I look for, because again, Uranus creates disruptions, and from what I've observed in a lot of these dynamics, okay, it is usually the love life, once again, of the Venus person that's being disrupted. After some time, it could be, you know, amalgamated, the energies like merged between the two people, but usually it's the Venus person, okay, that their love life gets disrupted. Now, another thing that I noticed in here, because I also wanted to see, you know, what's going on with her getting pregnant. Her Jupiter going into his 5th house. Her Mars goes into his 12th house, okay? Again, you know, this is going to be like no boundaries when it comes to like sexuality, right? You know, maybe experiencing things that, you know, one or both of the parties haven't experienced before. Again, another past life connection, right? Anytime you have Mars going into the 12th house or anything of this sort. The other thing that I picked up on here is for him, because there's all this first house synastry taking place, so it's his Mercury going into her first house, his Venus going into her first house. Okay, so he basically like sees her as attractive, right? Like a lot of the time when you have Venus in the first house, okay, in Synastry, or Venus conjunct the ascendant, usually the Venus person sees the ascendant person as their exact type. So that's happening here. But what I wanted to say is because there's a lot of this like first house Synastry, it's his Pluto going into her first house too. So she's obviously going to go through a transformation of the self. Also his moon going into her 10th house. When I first pulled up this chart, the first thing that I picked up on was like his ego being stroked by her. Like that's actually the first thing that I hooked into, but now when I'm looking at it, I'm seeing this as she sees him as a way to elevate herself, elevate her career, especially the moon going into the 10th house, right? So she sees this probably as like maybe he's someone more prominent than her, something of that sort. Because again, I knew of him, I didn't know about her. So again, maybe some of you guys are like, you know, hardcore fans and, you know, maybe it's equal for you guys, but that's kind of like the way that I like saw this energy. Now the other things that are going on in here is his Venus conjuncts her Pluto, and also his moon squares her Pluto. Okay, so she's Pluto in this situation. So she could have had her eye on him for a while, okay? Usually Pluto in these situations knows, especially with Pluto Venus, it's a conjunction here, okay? Usually Pluto knows a Venus, okay? Or like maybe they met and then she like observed him for some time. You know, this could absolutely allegedly bring in some calculation, you know, calculating certain moves. I mean, Pluto does, because Pluto wants to keep Venus around. And also this could also be that possessive energy that like, you know, maybe was trying to, you know, have a child to, you know, keep this person. I hope you guys are reading between the lines here. Again, allegedly, that's kind of what I'm getting with that energy too. By the way, you guys, I look up to 10 degrees of an orb. I know some people are super strict with the orbs, but I look up to 10. Sometimes if it catches my attention, I'll look up to 15 degrees as well. She's a Scorpio rising. That was the other thing. As soon as I saw her being a Scorpio rising, I was like, there's some kind of power move going on here. I mean, you know, I hate to say that, but sometimes, you know, sometimes what some women do, and some people in general, not just women, but in these side chick, side two situations, they're energetically trying to one up the other person. So that's kind of what I first hooked into when I saw the Scorpio rising. I was like, okay, power moves taking place here, okay, on her side, again, allegedly. Mars square Mars, so this is a battle of the egos, okay, long term. Mars square Mars could even turn into like trying to break the other person down. Her Mars is in Libra, his Mars in Cancer. Not always the most aggressive Mars overtly, but can be very passive aggressive, okay? Her Venus opposes his Mars. Another Synastry energy that makes, especially in heterosexual dynamics where the man is the Mars and the woman is the Venus, it feels very soulmatey, okay? It feels very much like the dance between the masculine and the feminine, even though it's an opposition here, right? The oppositions still do balance each other, okay? Her sun sextiles his ascendant, so there's a lot of harmony here in terms of like how they express themselves. His moon sextiles her ascendant. It is a sextile, it's a little bit more subtle here, okay? But it's like there is still a little bit of this obsession even from his side, right? But honestly, like energetically, as I hook into this, it's happening more from her side. Next, we have her Venus trining his moon, okay? Another soulmate type of energy, okay? These are nice energies to have in relationships overall, okay? So I can see how like these two got together, right? And here's the thing, right? A lot of people can have a lot of soulmates in, you know, a lifetime, but you don't always have to necessarily act on it, right? So there's that part of the story too. Okay, the sun sextile each other. She's a sun in Capricorn, he's a sun in Libra. Okay, we got a sextile, another harmonious energy. Again, a lot of like understanding each other's identity, understanding each other's expression, like, you know, how they present themselves to the world, the ego, all these things. We have some Saturn taking place in here. Her moon conjuncts his Saturn, her ascendant squares his Saturn, her Saturn opposes his ascendant. I'm not a fan of seeing these Saturn aspects, okay, in this type of combination of synastry. I talked about this in that video too, most toxic synastry combinations, okay? So check it out on my other channel, Barbara Talks. I'm not a fan because this prolongs the side chick, side dude types of scenarios, because Neptune adds the delusion where the person is like hopeful that the other person will leave the person that they're involved with, right? Which is very obvious that that's what's going on with her. And now Saturn's prolonging this. And of course they have a kid. So this is literally like creating a longer term dynamic relationship where they will continue to be in each other's lives, especially because they had the kid now together. But it's just like Saturn in these dynamics can sometimes prolong toxicity. It can prolong the delusion. It can prolong the yearning, the hopeful energy. I'm sure you guys catch my drift here, okay, with what it is that I'm trying to say. Her Neptune squares his ascendant, so she did not see him clearly. Maybe he came through. Neptune can also be lies and deception. Maybe he came through. Maybe he was just like lying about the wife or saying they were separated. You know, the same old story, right? That like she kind of got hooked in this dynamic. I mean, there could be part of that as well. Yep, again, it's happening. Her Neptune squares his sun, more not seeing him clearly, idealizing him, putting him on a pedestal, right? that's there. That's definitely there. They also have the Mars, Uranus, and Neptune square. Okay, so her Mars squares his Uranus, her Mars squares his Neptune. So again, the Neptune Mars is always like, again, sexual energy that is, again, ethereal and telepathic, and you feel like you're reaching higher heights. The Uranus like makes it fun and exciting and spontaneous, right? It's happening on the other side too. Okay, so her Neptune opposes his Mars. It's a little further out, but it's still there. So it's really interesting, this dynamic, because it's like there's a lot of energy going on here of just like, reconnecting with someone from a past life, but did you really have to act on it? And is it now going to, in terms of this from like a business perspective, right? Is it going to help the business? Is it going to harm the business? Because it's like now you're going to have to go through a whole rebrand, which I'm pretty sure she's trying to do with like her Big Mama album, but it's just like, especially the internet, right? And people are like ruthless, right? So when someone, tries to preach something and they create their whole brand around that, and now they do the exact opposite, right? It's not going to necessarily bring in a lot of love energy. Let me put it at that. So, you know what? That's what I have for you guys here. I enjoy doing this reading on the spot right here, right now. I hope you guys enjoy the nature attunements, okay, and the background as well, okay? Because as soon as I pulled this up, I was like, let me just do it right here, right now, instead of waiting when I sit down and I'm on my laptop and so on and so forth. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you're new here, please do like, share, and subscribe. Check out my original channel, Barbara Talks. And if you guys want a natal chart reading, mini natal chart reading, synastry reading, mini synastry reading, or a progressed reading, you guys can go on my website, send me an email, and we will go from there. Thanks so much, you guys, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.